What's up, everybody? What's going on, Bill?
What's happening?
Hear you were rocking out the other night.
How was your weekend?
It wasn't as good as yours, from what I hear.
I see. I'm showing a little bit of it from Saturday night. Little Iron Maiden going on.
Yeah, I was at work Saturday night, so.
No, I don't want to say the word, but it S is to be you.
Thank you.
So
happy Good Monday.
Oh, you got me back on that. Oh, I see what you did there. But we got two great guests on today.
We do.
A lot of news going on.
It's going to be a really busy week. Really busy week.
That too, yes. And something else that came out that we're going to refer to in a second. But why don't we give a little background, give the folks a little background on Pavel, of course, who also has a show on kgradb.com. He'll say it better than me, but psicoactivo. See, I my Spanish is forget it, and that's just a shame. But anyway, and Gonzalo, what's a little background on Gonzalo?
So Gonzalo is the go-to source, I feel like, for the Nazca mummies case. Really cool guy. We hung out here in Roswell. He came down for the festival. Super knowledgeable on the UFO topic. He keeps up with everything going on in other countries too. So he's a good source for UFO news outside the country.
Wait a minute. I think I did meet Gonzalo at Roswell. Right? I'm pretty sure, right? No? Was this at the festival?
This year? You weren't here this year.
Oh, it was this year he was at?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I didn't meet him yet. Well, I look forward to meeting Gonzalo hopefully at some point. And Pavel. Maybe a future KGRA event, Toby.
There's rumblings. I don't know.
Rumblings. Anyway, without further ado, because let's just get right to it because there's a lot to cover here. Here comes Pavel. And don't forget to check out his show on YouTube as well. He'll give a little details on that.
Hi.
And Gonzalo. Welcome, Gonzalo.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Gonzalo.
Hey, Pavel.
So, guys, Toby, you're the one who wants to break this out right now. So why don't you start a little background on what happened here with this article and some of the details associated with it that we've known for like a year.
So shout out to Christopher Sharp at the Liberation Times. Bill, if you want to get that pulled up.
Yep.
He released an article today that is a pretty deep dive into UAP crash retrieval. He names some departments that were previously unknown to the public, as far as I'm aware. He brought up an interesting name, which we were talking about off air, in General Dynamics. So, news that I'm sure might come out this week. If it doesn't, you heard it here first. Sources have confirmed to us that the U.S. is in possession of one of the cube inside the sphere craft.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We found out about this through a friend who was directly in communication with someone, and this was stated. And now with this coming out, it makes sense. Now, was that the incident where Graves, when he testified, Toby, he mentioned about that object, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
So it was a square. This is what I remember it, with a round sphere that was red inside. Is that correct?
It was a dark sphere on the inside.
It was dark? It wasn't red?
I just remember hearing dark.
Okay.
We'll say red for your sake.
No, but I think I remember part of what I had heard, that this thing looked like it had plasma as a source in it. This is what was part of that conversation. And that it was technology from this person's perspective that was definitely not ours. So it connects the whole Graves incident with that object that he witnessed. And this person pretty much verified it. And now with this coming out, guys, the pieces are being put together. And I'd like to get all three of your takes on this. Toby, you started off.
Okay, so our understanding is that in the process of reverse engineering this thing. When they went to open the outer layer, there's some sort of gas on the inside that they can't explain any reason for it being there. That what you remember hearing, Bill?
Yep. That's pretty much similar to what I heard. Remember, you and I had a very private discussion when when we found out about it, to someone that we both know. And there was another person there as a witness that when this was discussed with a person. We can't get into names, obviously, but this is very serious. And maybe, guys, Pavel, Gonzalo, Toby, maybe this puts more emphasis on these upcoming hearings on the Wednesday, the 13th.
You can't get into names, but I can ask you a few questions without.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Toby, you're getting the questions.
So, is this person from the intelligence community, scientist, something like that?
No.
Fellow researcher?
I mean, you could keep asking, and then it's going to be like ding, 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 ding. And then, let's just put it this way. If we told you even the department or what part of...
How high up? That's all I want to know.
Well, they're in a position of power, yes.
Okay.
But again, if we were to tell you exactly specifically where this person is...
No, don't.
Just right. Because
just
then
fishing a little bit.
Yeah, I know. We could talk about this off air, though.
Do we know if it?
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Do we know if it's an archaeological discovery?
Archaeological?
Yeah, like it's been there for a long time, or it was discovered by accident.
We weren't given details on that.
No.
Okay.
We were given details on this person. This person was taken to the place where this thing is being stored and studied.
Right. It was being observed by the person.
Okay.
And again, we have to be careful. But
I guess I've been sitting on a big story then for a year. Congrats.
Oh yeah, but but what happens in this field a lot of times is people put stuff out there without really waiting to do it with the vetting process to make sure that it is what it is. They just rush out there and then they get egg on the face when it turns out to be not accurate. So, to be responsible, you have to do it the right way, to roll it out the right way. Even, guys, this, when Grush was the whistleblower, Toby knew, I knew, a few of us knew, but we kept our mouths shut because it was told to keep our mouths shut. I'm sure there could have been a lot of people that was like, the me process. I want to be the 5 minutes of fame. They could have went on and spilled the beans. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful to protect people. Anyway, but going back to it, what do you guys think? Pavel, starting with you now, what do you think about all this?
Well, for starters, if Chris Sharp hadn't mentioned General Dynamics, we wouldn't be talking about this. So kudos to him.
Absolutely. Liberation times.
But I don't know what I think about this. I just want to see evidence at the hearings. That's all I really care about.
Good luck with that.
And more articles will keep coming, and they will keep talking about this and keep dropping names and all that. But until we get an actual firsthand witness or an actual official document that proves something, or I don't rely on imagery anymore these days because it's so difficult.
AI. Mm-hmm.
But until then, it's just more stories to talk about. That is fun. Don't get me wrong. I love talking about this stuff, but I guess people are gonna eventually grow tired of it, especially the ones who are not as much in the UFO topic as probably they should be,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. Hold on, just to interrupt real quick. And that's another reason why we said on the information that we had, because even though we've come out and said this person has confirmed this to us, we don't actually have the physical evidence that we can bring forward. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Pavel? Do you understand the implications? So while it's a source we trust that's definitely in the need-to-know position, I feel like it's important to put this out now because now I think there is a chance that this gets brought up at the hearings. But it's like you said, we don't have the craft to bring and put on screen. So
also, it puts the person in a tough position that actually may be the source of this, because they may figure out who was the one that said it. You know what I mean?
It's better to be safe about them.
Exactly.
Keep it to the heart.
Exactly.
My reaction is that, yeah, I think it's cool that you guys have had a big story for over a year and you guys have vetted it, and now you guys see somebody else breaking it, and so you guys can add to that story. My reaction would be like, does this person know how long they've been studying it? Do you think he would ever testify if he was asked in a congressional hearing?
Well, we were only told generalizations of it, not like specifics like that. It was parts of the conversation that occurred, and they didn't really get into the specifics of how long we've had it for. But when did Graves report seeing that?
2015, I think it was. They saw them.
So, I mean, you have to make an assumption that maybe from that point on, is it the same thing or is it something similar, different? We don't know. But Toby and I were not given like specifics about that. Now, as far as the person going to the hearing and bringing it up, I don't know. But maybe somebody else will bring it up.
Well, and that's another reason why I'm comfortable on talking about this now, because I've heard the same information just the other day from a secondary source who was told by someone that works in the entertainment industry. So the story's getting out.
Really?
Yes. So it's been spread beyond just the small conversation that we know took place.
Oh, so somebody else has been discussing it.
Somebody else has put it out there. So it's going to come out either way. So I'd rather we do it.
Yes.
But
and we're responsible. We're and all of us are. We're all responsible. And the thing is, we're all trying to find the answers like everybody else. And yes, Toby and I agree with you, Pavel, and I'm sure Gonzalo does too. We're never going to find nothing, because as soon as something is that's important that they're going to protect, classified, can't do it, can't show it in a public forum, in a hearing. We'll take it behind closed doors and we'll look at it there. But we're not going to see nothing. The stories, like you said, are going to be interesting. The questioning is interesting to me, how prepared they were to ask these people that are sitting in front of them the questions. But we're not going to really find out nothing. It's just going to be hearsay and stories. This person told me, this person showed me that, well, who are these people? They need to, like you said, we need those people to come in front of the hearing and say what they seen personally. That's what we need, not secondhand, not hearsay. We need that kind
contrary to what's happening in Peru, where they do have evidence.
Oh, let's get into that now. Let's talk about that, because that's really interesting what's going on in Peru. So who wants to start with this? Gonzalo, Pavel?
I guess I can start. So yesterday, Peru held a congressional hearing on the discovery of the Nazca mummies. Originally, the plan was like everybody was going to present for 10 minutes, but it seems their time got cut from like 10 to 3 to 5 minutes. So a lot of the presentations were just short, giving minor statements about the research. But I feel it was a pretty productive meeting yesterday with congressmen.
Where are they stored now?
So the bodies are at the University of Ica, and I was telling Toby that'd be a great idea for like do a report over there if it was possible in Peru, because the bodies are available for research. So cameras could go in and record the bodies. They have 4 there, but in total there's 9 bodies discovered.
But the question, and Toby, you can touch on this too. Are they going to be able to obtain samples of it for testing? In other words, actual samples of it, fragments, to go have it studied outside of Peru?
So yesterday's congressional hearing was about allowing entire bodies to be allowed to be taken outside of Peru. So if there's people interested in research, they could even ask, potentially like asking a body and then getting it studied in the United States. So I think that would be better than small samples.
Oh, wow. That's really excellent. They're going to send the whole thing.
Yeah, so that's what they're working on. That was what the goal of the congressional hearing was yesterday.
Interesting. Now, Toby, you have a question for him before I continue, or?
No, I was just formulating in my head a plan to offer We trade Bill for one of the bodies. I'm just throwing it out there.
It allows me to take a trip to Peru. I'm in.
Yes, you can see them and then see all the Machu Picchu and all the gorgeous
And
artifacts of
I've
it.
always, not for nothing, not to get off topic too much, but I've always wanted to see the Nazca lines.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and the bodies were found near there. That's why it's a big discovery, because it may have like a connection to the Nazca lines. Who knows?
Wow. I wonder with the technology today if they're actually, I heard this, they're actually discovering other formations now. Is that true?
Yes, artificial intelligence is finding them.
Wow. Toby, check that. We got to go.
Yeah, get the boss on the line. Hey, KGRA investigates.
Oh my gosh.
It's on KGRA's bill.
That would be a great story, though. You guys would see bodies, and then you guys could record the Nazca lines.
And they are allowing cameras, you mentioned, correct?
Yes, you can go there and see the bodies. If you take a research team, they would even allow you to see the bodies and research them.
Ooh. See, don't get me started, because this is making the wheels turn. Like, this is something that would be amazing to experience and do.
Well, and I, excuse me, I think it's pretty awesome that they're opening up these bodies for examination by other countries, because I hate to say it, and I know it's something about Americans. We think unless we confirm something, it's harder to believe. So much as I hate to say that, that's the way our country is, I feel like, or at least part of it. So.
But then again, a lot of people might say this: do you believe when the government does investigate something? Do you believe what they're saying to you as what's going on? Do you know what I mean? That's a whole different ballgame. They could do a study. Yeah, it could be studied. We want the U.S. to study it. And they come out with a result, and they present it to people. A lot of people aren't going to trust what they just told us. I mean, let's be real. So even in that situation, it's dicey.
Yeah, the only concern the congressman said yesterday was why do the bodies have to be studied outside of Peru? We can confirm them ourselves. And I was like, that's also a valid point.
Well, the other flip side would be, why don't international scientists just simply go to Peru and be exposed to it and be able to analyze it there?
I've been saying that for the last year. So, yep.
I mean, that makes sense. But you also, at these hearings, they presented some slides of the other things. But just to give people a reference here, these are the full. How many bodies are there?
So that one is Paloma. She's the first discovered body with hair. She has red-brown hair.
Wow. So how many total, guys? Pavel?
So they have 9 bodies.
Wow. Now, has the Peruvian government claimed it to be humanoid? I mean, what are they saying to the public there? What are they claiming these bodies to be? What's the official thing that they're talking about here?
So there are 2 narratives. The Ministry of Culture is saying that they're fake, that they're dolls created by the public, and that it's fraudsters trying to confuse the public. And then academia in Peru is saying that they've discovered unknown humanoids near the Nazca lines, and these humanoids seem to have 3 fingers and 3 toes, and they seem to have no signs of manipulation. So there's different stories being told.
But at the hearing yesterday, what did they say? Anything specifically about that? Or just a matter, here it is, we're going to lay it out, we're going to allow people to have access to it, we're going to allow it to do this, that, but that was it?
They talked about two bodies specifically. One is Maria, and the other one is Wawita. And I think that the study is already public. Gonzalo told me yesterday. And Wawita, they say that it is likely a human. However, Maria, they confirmed that the tridactyl features on the feet and hands is real. Is what did they call it? Morphologically coherent.
Yes,
which means. Yeah, tell me, Gonzalo.
Yeah, they found that it was born like that, basically. It does not seem to have been caused by cutting fingers or by manipulation. It was just she was born that way.
And I think that's one of the most important parts of the whole hearing because Maria does have human features in the rest of her body. But that tridactyl stuff, that's what throws people off. And
and found in close vicinity, all the bodies were in close vicinity within each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Maria is like 40 years old, based on what they've been able to estimate on her age. Based on recent studies, it may actually be male, so it may actually be Mario rather than Maria.
Interesting.
And the study is public. I also sent that in the chat in case you would like to show that. But they basically found that she's natural. She was born that way. And then when it came to Wawita, they assume she's human. They do notice that she does seem to. The researchers do notice that she has she was cut. So like the 3 fingers and 3 toes was caused by cutting fingers. But she has gray skin. So that's what makes her unique.
Toby?
Excuse me. Gray skin, huh? Wow.
That's a feature they all have.
All right,
That's not weird at all.
We don't hear that anywhere in the UFO topic, right?
No.
Never heard of the grays. What the gray what?
All right, I'm gonna right now. Thanks, Gonzalo, for putting that, and I'm gonna share the screen now of the report that you just referenced. So I'm gonna put it on full screen here. So give us a little background again about this here.
Yeah, so basically for the last 7 years, the university and the researchers have been trying to get the Ministry of Culture to study the bodies because the Ministry of Culture has always been saying they're fake. So in September, there was an independent analysis, and they took Maria and Wawita from the university. And this is a report from the independent doctors that analyzed Maria and Wawita.
Yeah. Examine so images, it says, right? Images.
Tomographies and x-rays were taken from both.
Gotcha.
And stay there on Maria. On the very final bullet points, that's where they talk about the hands and feet having the tridactyl features.
Wow.
And that's the most important part of this report, because below you got Wawita, and they say that she is likely human because she has different features compared to Maria. But Wawita is different from all the rest. All the others are just like Maria, that are the same size, right, Gonzalo?
Yeah, so the human size, they're about the size of Maria, and they all have 3 fingers and 3 toes, but Wawita was born with 5 and 2 were cut off.
Wow. The reason I asked you guys that if they were all together, could we be dealing maybe with hybrids mixing with humans at that time?
That is what some researchers believe is happening. I'm personally of the theory that they're like a native species, that they're born that way, that they're not hybrids.
Okay.
But I know there's this research by a guy named David Velasco, and he went through Chile and Peru, talking to tribes about their experience interacting with these tridactyls, like their ancestors and their stories. And they told him that when humans and tridactyls would mate, the creature would be born with 5 fingers. So that kind of matches what Wawita looks like, where we're seeing a gray skin being with 5 fingers. So that's what David Velasco says, based on his story, that's what Wawita-like creatures come from. So maybe those are hybrids.
That's an interesting concept.
Well, I mean, the tridactyl feature, that's what's interesting to me about that is it's been reported in cultures all over the world.
I actually already spoke to Velasco, and the episode is already on the KGRA feed, so you guys can check it out there. We do talk about that in detail.
Shameless self-promotion. That is what we invited you on here for.
But there were also some slides, and Gonzalo, you were able to provide them with us. Now, there's a bunch of them, folks. So, Gonzalo, take the lead as I put these up, okay?
Yeah, so these pictures were supposed to be shown during the congressional hearing, but the researchers' time slot got cut in half, so these weren't shown. These are writings that they discovered with the bodies. These are stones that have like little etchings on them. They haven't been studied by linguists or any outside experts. But yesterday they were supposed to be shown during the hearing because the researchers wanted the scientific community to learn about them and for them to start reaching out to them and study them, because we see a lot of these symbols in what previous researchers have shown. Danny Sheehan specifically has shown writing that looks like this.
Wow.
And they're meant.
Pretty sure you guys have an exclusive right now, right, Gonzalo? These haven't been shown anywhere else, have
Exactly. They weren't even hearing.
Yeah, they haven't been shown anywhere outside of just Joyce Mantilla and Jaime showing it earlier today in Mexico. But these artifacts haven't been shown in English.
Wow. So we're seeing this for the first time.
KGRA exclusive. Woo! Another shameless plug. Sue me.
I wonder, these have to be studied thoroughly to see.
Yes. Especially if they can be aged, which I'm sure is going to be difficult because it's stone. But why I know that the researchers wanted to show this in the congressional hearing was because Peru is said to not have had any writing in their past. Now these artifacts with writing were discovered near the bodies. And so there is evidence that there was writing in the past for Peru. I know that, again, David Velasco's research, he went talking to tribes and they told him that there was writing, but during the conquest, the people would destroy them because a lot of the writing was being used against them. So a lot of what could have been evidence for us that there was handwriting from these tribes were just destroyed by the Spanish or the tribes themselves destroying them, trying to protect themselves.
Yeah. This is a trope that is very common throughout history against local civilizations from colonizers. They destroy their heritage, they destroy their bloodlines, their culture. It's happened all over.
It still happens.
Yeah, it still happens.
I don't want to get into that aspect, but in the Middle East, when ISIS went in, they destroyed everything that had to do with the history, or it was stolen and obtained and sold off to private auctioneers or collectors. But that's what they do. They want to wipe out everything prior to say, this didn't exist. This is us now. We don't want no memory of what was. We're going to wipe that all out because it influences them. They want to become the ones, the influencers. So it's a horrible thing. But you guys got me like really curious because it's near Nazca lines, this area. What kind of equipment did they use, if you either one of you know, to survey the land to see if there may be something underground still there that they haven't gotten to yet?
They used LiDAR technology, if I'm not mistaken, and then they put that through AI, didn't they, Gonzalo?
For the new Nazca lines, yes, that's what they used. But I don't know if you were asking about the discovery site for the mummies.
Yes, the bodies.
The bodies, that's what you're asking? Okay. Yeah. So those were found in accident. So it was a grave robber going, just trying to find treasure, trying to make money, and ended up discovering the bodies. Now, there's two stories. There's an official story, and there's the unofficial story. The official story is that they were discovered in a cave, in a diatomaceous cave. The unofficial story is that they discovered an underground tunnel system that has these bodies. And if you see the people who've been interviewed about these bodies, they'll say that they kind of know where the bodies are being found, like outside researchers, not the grave robber. But what they will say is that they've heard music, they've heard like some sort of activity in the discovery site. So there may still be a living civilization. We're just finding their cemetery.
Gonzo, you can talk about that? I didn't know you could talk about that publicly.
Those are all stuff like they've said publicly. So I guess I can read it.
I was like, whoa, he mentioned
another breaking news.
What the hell?
Yeah.
This is something really interesting. Now, wait a minute. So because I know near the Nazca lines or somewhere in Peru, there are underground dwellings. That's well established, right? There are dwellings underground where they used to live in the past, didn't they, guys?
So they found like underground small houses. They found a lot of like underground housing type looking structures. But I know that in Machu Picchu, Thierry Jamin found like a tunnel system, and he was prevented from continuing to research there. And he's also one of the people who's involved in discovering the Nazca mummies. So it's interesting that he's also there's another underground tunnel in Machu Picchu. Then there's Tiwanaku, where his friends also found a tunnel system, and they were prevented to continue studying. So that might be where they're at. They're from underground rather than outer space.
That's the government, because the same thing similarly happens in Egypt when they discover new areas and they say, you're not touching that. You're not excavating. You're not doing that. So this is not the exception. This seems to be the norm when things like this happen. They want to put a lockdown on it. Now, well, you guys, I'm curious, you need to keep an eye on these areas, because even though they said you can't do it, they may decide they want to do it in a governmental role.
Yeah, that's why it would be interesting to see if like similar studies could be done in the U.S., like near mountains. Maybe that's where the discoveries are. Maybe that's why the Rocky Mountains has sections that are classified. Maybe they're finding evidence there.
Which I want to share something now. Tridactyls in the U.S. Possible.
Toby's been to sites too in Utah and in other areas that he's seen indigenous culture depictions on stones and all kinds of stuff. And it is fascinating because that oral tradition. What just happened? Okay. We're good.
Where'd the picture go?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. There we go. Oh, I was just thinking of this, and this is it, right?
It even has the chest plate that some of them have, which is an implant.
Anasazi Ridge.
Wow.
So there's stories of these things. Different native cultures.
Yes.
Have them. There's the ant people, I think is the Hopi. These beings that lived underground, they came up and took the natives down to save them when catastrophe was happening. So these things are in cultures all over the world. I mean, I think in a chat that I'm in with these guys, someone posted from everywhere from Japan to who knows where else. There's depictions of three-fingered beings on pottery, on hieroglyphics like that. There's oral tradition of these beings. So it's interesting. We're talking about thousands of years ago when you couldn't just hop on a jet and fly across the globe and go tell somebody a story about these things, that there's depictions of them throughout history. Mm-hmm. Completely different cultures, completely different continents.
But the thing is, despite it having a global effect, how it impacted each individual civilization culture in that specific area. It's kind of really intriguing how they all decided that this was so important that they had to make depictions to record it in history. Think about that. That's impactful, that they wanted this to last forever, pretty much, like a record that this happened. And it happened everywhere, like you just said. South America, North America, Egypt, Middle East.
We could possibly have physical evidence here.
That's why, for me, it would be interesting, if we could ask permission from, Native American reservations to see if we could study diatomaceous caves, because that's where the bodies in Peru are being found. So, or supposedly, because then there's also the unofficial story. But then if we can recreate that study here, maybe that's how we can find evidence in the U.S.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually.
If that's happening in the U.S., if there is something like that here, I highly doubt it's not already protected by some government agencies, because you know how it is. I don't think it passed. It blew past them. I doubt it.
It makes me think of the reports in the late 1800s of these townspeople digging and finding skeletons of giants. And then the Smithsonian shows up and says, oh my God, this is real. And then the town wakes up the next day and the people from the Smithsonian or wherever, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
The body's gone, the bones are gone, and they're like, "Hey, wait a minute! You guys came and said this was real. What are you talking about? We were never there."
Yeah.
And I mean, it's interesting because at that time period, newspapers they would sensationalize stories and they would even fabricate them to generate sales and tourism in certain cities. But there's
Sounds
stories
familiar.
like that.
Sounds familiar.
Oh,
right?
yeah, don't you dare. Hey, well, that case back there says otherwise, but we'll just leave that at that. But it's interesting because, there's stories like that, I'm sure, in other parts of the world too. So could this be another case of that? Could these things have been found, taken and stored somewhere?
That's what I think has been happening throughout the entire planet. And this just happens at this time it was found by a grave robber rather than like somebody from academia or, somebody from the government. And what they did is trying to make money is that they took it to a research institute who then studied the bodies and then confirmed them to be real. So we have like the benefit, I guess, that it was found by criminals this time rather than, I guess, like officials or academics.
So it's like the poor version of Laura Croft. You got Tomb Raider, but Tomb Raider for cash. I mean,
Exactly.
it's crazy enough of a story that it would make sense that the person would find it and say, "Hey, this looks like it could be worth some money.
Exactly.
So take it. I'm not taking this to the government. I want some cash."
It never to be seen again. That's the whole. That's the whole point. Because it happened this way, it was obtained or not brushed under, where it disappeared. Nobody would even know it happened.
Because I could be mistaken, but I believe, I think it was Mario, the guy that was doing. I think he sold or somebody sold these bodies to private collectors in other countries, like during COVID. Isn't that correct, Gonzalo?
Yeah, so Mario, whose real name is Leandro, is like sells these bodies as a living, and they all have like apparently different prices, and so I'm assuming the larger ones cost more than the small ones. But yes, that's what he does for a living. And it said this discovery site has many bodies, and they've only shown 9.
Wow. But it's all part of archaeology. I mean, if you that's like if you find an old dinosaur fossilized intact, it's worth so much money. Everybody's, that it's always about the money. But
that's why
exploitation is another thing, though. I mean, if really, this just shouldn't be in the possession of a private collector. This is something that the people should have access to.
This is a Hollywood script. I'm sorry, but this is one of those stories where it's like based on a true story, crazy grave robber, desperate for cash, unearths alien bodies and starts selling them on eBay. You know what I mean? I mean, not exactly like that, but it's.
Right.
He was selling them on Facebook in the beginning. Yeah. That's how crazy this story is. Yeah.
I want to get to know a little more about the this collector market, because they're one of the biggest problems, I think, why this is being kept in the dark so much and so obfuscated, because presumably if they have bodies that are real, this could get them into real trouble. So us thinking that maybe the government is guilty of obfuscating and covering this up, maybe those collectors are also doing that,
Yes.
That's what I think. Yeah, I think they're the blockers for us learning if we're alone is private collectors.
They pay good money to keep people quiet, so that makes a lot of sense.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure they're lobbying too.
That exactly. We don't know. We don't know what their true intent and agenda is.
So who knows what they have?
Exactly. There's so many questions, not enough answers.
Because I mean, I've heard from the UFO side. I've heard of people trying to sell various alleged artifacts. And actually, I can tell this story because I think it's pretty funny. In New Mexico, on Craigslist of all places, a reader sent me a post from a guy out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, that claimed he had an intact arm of an alien with a ray gun. $25,000 and it's yours. So I'm obviously I'm not saying the guy was telling the truth, but could you imagine? This is kind of like that. Someone gets on Facebook and says, "Hey, here's a tridactyl alien hybrid mummy." It's got to be fake. They buy it and it's real. Like, You know what I mean?
That's what I'm pretty sure has happened across the globe. You know, people thinking this is all fake and then end up realizing it's real.
So
But then
now
I'm
you're-
sure there's also people hoping they buy real ones, getting fakes. You know?
It could work either way.
Yeah.
that the message to our viewers is: do not buy mummified remains on Facebook.
And don't do illegal stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
Unless in your country something you want to do is legal, don't do it.
Yeah, we don't condone that. There's too much of that stuff going on as it is in general.
You just heard that straight from Pavel, also known as the Mexican Wolverine.
So now, where do we go from here, though? Now, I mean, obviously they're gonna. I'm really curious if they're gonna even allow it, because if one congressional person said, well, "Why does it have to go out of the country to be studied?" I like what you said, Gonzalo. Why don't they just come here? You've been saying that for quite some time. What's the next steps here, guys?
Yeah, is it a lack of access to technology? Is it?
So that's what they've been saying, is that there is more sophisticated technology outside of Peru. That's what Dr. McDowell actually said in his presentation, that in the U.S. they could use better equipment to realize what these specimens actually are. So that's why that's being asked. And in terms of what's going to happen, from my understanding, they're working on changing some laws to allow this to be possible. None of the congressmen have issues with the bodies to be taken out. They just don't understand why it has to be done when they feel, as a country pride, it can be done within Peru. So it's understandable.
It's all academia based, though. It's not gonna. Where are they gonna send it to? Like a scientific group in the United States that's independent, totally independent from the government, right? I hope.
So I'm assuming they're going to be looking for universities who would be interested. So if there's people interested in studying a body, I guess they would have to ask a university who would be interested in doing that type of research, and then through them try to request the body from the University of Ica.
There's a step in the right direction to me. Toby, Pavel?
Very, very interesting.
Oh man, I was just a little disappointed that Estrada was there, because you can have someone who's a skeptic or even a debunker at an important hearing like this, but someone who is known to have been covering up this stuff on purpose to be there. I don't think that was the move. I don't understand why they allowed him and not another independent, unbiased skeptic,
But Pavel, wait a minute though. If this guy is screaming at the top of his lungs and everybody knows this is the main debunker guy, and we're gonna have him. It's almost like having the flat earther stuff, and the biggest flat earther comes because he's the mouth.
The problem is, Bill, that he has power. This proved that he still has power in there, because if he didn't, he wouldn't have been there.
Right.
So this is the problem. It's not that we all know who he is. We all know what he does.
I mean,
the issue is that he wields power within those walls, and that's a problem. Someone who's an obfuscator who also has a lot of power in there should not be part of this at all.
Well, Peru might be looking at it like, we're going to be very transparent here. And we're going to have, like I said, the loudest person that is the debunker, skeptic, whatever, to ask his questions, to have him there to show you that we're being honest here. We're laying it all out. We'll take his questions on. We're not afraid of what he's going to say, because the evidence is clearly on our side. We have, you know what I mean? We can clearly now just, kind of dispute everything that he's been saying, because, okay, now you're here. You see it for yourself. Now what do you say?
Yeah, and there was a moment when he was talking, like the scientist beside him was talking, and I'm pretty sure nobody could understand the word he was saying in the room, because he was just all word salad and saying stuff that didn't even make sense about bodies that we know those are not the real ones. What do you think about that, Gonzalo? Did you notice that too?
Yeah, I think it was pretty interesting how they had the debunkers during the hearing. Also think it's a good idea because people can hear both point of views. And what I liked is that at the end, the congressman was able to notice that the skeptic side weren't actually studying the real bodies that the researchers were claiming. And also Josh McDowell, who was the lead, the lawyer for the American researcher team, told during the congressional hearing that the bodies that Flavio Estrada was discussing during the hearing are not the bodies that they're discussing. So that was good because it showed, there's a misdirection happening by the Ministry of Culture to the public, and the congressmen were able to notice that.
What is the Ministry of Culture's? What do you think their agenda is on all this?
Oh, bro, I can tell you this like hands down because I saw the recent episode of Graham Hancock with Jesse Michaels. They talked about this. This has been happening in Egypt for like decades. And the main obfuscator is the Ministry of Culture too.
Yep.
Those are like all archaeologists, paleontologists, the people who own the museums, all of this stuff that goes directly against a narrative they want to paint about history and about culture within a country. That's what's happening. And that's why the Ministry of Culture is the one doing this.
Wild.
So I think it's because in 2017 they said they were fake. So 7 years later, it's about preserving your job. There's job security in play now.
It's always about stuff like that. I mean, it gets frustrating for I'm sure for all of us when we hear this.
Yes.
Gonzalo, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, but the positive thing is that the hearing was about creating a museum or a research institute where the bodies will be exhibited to the world public, and there was also going to be a research center in there. So, scientists could go in there and study the bodies. And all the congressmen really liked that idea because it could increase the tourism to the area. The community where the bodies were discovered can grow. So that's a positive that maybe in the coming years, we'll have a non-human museum that has bodies. We can take our families there and see corpses, of something that used to live with us.
That's right. That to me has a lot of significance in itself. It's part of the culture. It's all part of that. It's history in itself, regardless of what it is. It's history.
Yeah, and it seemed like these beings were loved because there's no reason why they're in textiles everywhere. Art from the Inca. So it's clear they were interacting with somebody else.
Wow.
All right.
Fascinating. Good, Toby. I'm sorry.
We got about 5 minutes or so. Let's get a quick already. Let's get a quick go around the table here. Predictions for the hearings on Wednesday. Bill, you kick it off.
Nothing. Just a little talk, like Pavel said earlier. Just some talk that we might find interesting. Maybe some did he just say that? But it's not going to lead to anything. We're not going to see anything. We're not going to get no evidence or anything. It might be just interesting to hear it, what these people have to say that when they testify. But I would I'll refer to what Pavel said earlier. You can't trust really photos or videos because they can be easily manipulated or created. Then you're not going to see any classified documents of importance. We're going to hear probably, well, this is going on here, but this person said this. But again, Pavel said it earlier. We need firsthand witnesses to be there to tell us themselves. So I don't think it's going to be much. It's still going to be interesting to watch.
Pavel?
Well, first of all, I think that Schellenberger being there, that would be a first ever in UFO hearings. We never had a journalist. If there was someone that I would have liked to see there as a journalist, it would have been someone like him or Ross Coulthard maybe. But the fact that he's the one doing it and not his source for the article he released about Immaculate Constellation already tells you a lot. I guess the only wild card I have, and it depends, is my gold. If this guy comes in as a former Bigelow employee, I won't care much for what he has to say. But if he comes in as a former NASA employee, then I'm interested because presumably he could talk about stuff that NASA has been ignoring for a while. So that would be the only thing that has my interest. Otherwise, I understand that they're doing this because they want a wider audience to look at it and create like a shock value. But they've already done that on the last hearing last year, and I think this should have been something a little bit more different. I hear people saying this is not for UFO savvy people. I think it should be for both, not just people who don't know about the topic, you know. But that's just my opinion.
Gonzalo.
Yeah, so I am interested to see what is discussed during the hearing. I hope Lou says like what companies possess evidence. That way it can like help expedite the process. When it comes to Mike Gold, I'm interested to see if his new company is studying UAP and if he can discuss that, because he is working for a aerospace company, so that would be interesting. When it comes to Michael Schellenberger, I am interested to see what he says and if his reporting on the new program, the name is escaping me, is real and like what he knows about it. And then when it comes to, I think the last person is
Gallaudet.
Gallaudet, yes. And with him, I'm very interested to see when it comes to USOs, if he's seen evidence. What I'm very interested more, like, but I know it's not going to be asked, is if they know private collectors who have evidence. Because like I said, I believe that's the blocker. And if that could be asked during a congressional settings to each of those individuals, I feel like that would expedite the process.
Toby?
All right, so my couple of quick thoughts here before we end this. Who's to say Gold isn't Schellenberger's source for Immaculate Constellation? What I think is going to be brought up, it's been speculated on, is, and Liberation Times, going back to Christopher Sharp again, claims have been levied in the past week or two that Lockheed Martin tried to transfer an NHI craft to the DoD and it was blocked. So that may be something that's brought up, and maybe Gold knows something about that. I don't know. We'll see, but I, for one, feel like the hearings from last year are going to be hard to top.
Just quickly, before we go, don't forget, folks, check out that Liberation Times article that Christopher Sharp wrote. Definitely check that out. But here's one quick last thought, guys. Until they have high-ranking committee members, whether it's in the Senate or in the House, when we see that they're taking this seriously by the people with the higher rank and the higher classification, then we're talking to me. Because, you know what I mean? It's so minimal. It's like in a side room. It's not even being taken serious by the people that really hold the power and have the classification clearance to go into a skiff, like the Gang of Eight. Just saying.
Well, Pavel, Gonzalo, I want to thank you guys both for being here. We'll have to do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for having us.
Tell us where people can watch you. And Gonzalo, after Pavel goes, you can discuss people where they can contact you. Pavel?
You can find me on Psicoactivo Podcast on YouTube and here on the KGRA platform, Psicoactivo Podcast. We're already like 8 or 9 episodes in, so I'm really excited for this. And I am going to release some more details about a documentary I'm doing with Director Ida Cuellar. I already talked about this on my channel, where we went to Ensenada last week, to Guadalupe Island. Not to Guadalupe Island, but to speak to fishermen. We got 2 in and a pilot. So you guys, you're going to expect some good stuff from that one.
Keep up the great work. Gonzalo?
Yeah, so for me, you can follow me on Twitter at gchavez101. And I just post about mummies. And if you guys are interested in anime and stuff, you guys can see me post silly stuff, I guess. But thank you.
Awesome. Toby, you want to close this out?
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you guys next Monday with an update on whatever happens at the hearings, I suppose.
That's it. See you,
see you guys next week.
Happy Monday.
Happy good Monday.
Run.